Hello students, how are you doing? I welcome you to Social Studies lesson. Today we will do a quick recall of all the concepts that we learned in grade 1. So basically we are doing a revision. Remember, practice will make you perfect. Let's take a quick look at the objectives. Our first objective is to revise and revisit the concepts learnt in grade 1, to differentiate between fiction and non-fiction, to know more about transportation in the present and in the past, to revise timeline, and finally to recall the meaning of sequencing. This is what we will try to achieve by the end of the session. So let's begin. We first begin with fiction stories. Who remembers what is fiction stories? Are they real or not real? Very good. Fiction stories are not real stories. They are made up stories. I want you to have a look at the picture of the book. Here's the front page of a book, which is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I know most of you enjoyed reading this book. Now, clearly, it's not a real story. Why? Because can bears talk? Also, have a look at the picture where you can see nice beds on which Goldilocks was lying down, which is believed to be the bed of the bears. Clearly, bears do not sleep on a bed. So it is not a real story. And when it's not a real story, it's called a fiction story. So then, what is a non-fiction? Non-fiction stories. Let's take a look at this book. The name of this book is Big Book of Airplanes. Now clearly you know that this is a real story. Stories about real things are non-fiction. Fiction or non-fiction? Now I'm going to show you two images of books and I want you to tell me which one is a fiction and which is a non-fiction. Take a look. The first book is A Big Book of Airplanes and the second book is called The Ugly Truckling. Now who can tell me which is a fiction? That's right, The Ugly Truckling is a fiction. And why is it a fiction? Look at the cover page. The airplane has eyes and nose and mouth. Now which airplane has all of that? So clearly it's not real. And the Big Book of Airplanes is a non-fiction. Let's move on. The new concept here is transportation. Who remembers what is transportation? It's very simple. Transportation is the movement of goods and persons from place to place and the various means by which such movement is accomplished. I will show you two images now. Here is what they used long ago to move things or people from one place to another. And this one needs no explanation. You see them all the time. You come to school with them. So, something that was used long ago is called past. Very good. And something that we use today is called present. Let's move to the next slide. We now will talk about timeline. A timeline is a graph of events in the order that they happened. I've made you a small little graph to make things simple for you. Take a look at this. The first point says the day I was born. Then there is a picture of a dog which says got a dog, and then there is first day of school. Now let's put dates to these important events and let's call it your timeline. When were you born? Let's imagine you were born on the 4th of March 2010, and maybe by May 2013 you got a dog. And when you first went to school, it was September 2014. Now if I ask you, when did you get a dog? So you will look for the picture of the dog and you will see the date and tell me in May 2013. And if I ask you, what happened on the 4th of March 2010? You will look for the information that I just told you, and then you will look at the explanation which says the day I was born. So again, timeline is a graph of events in the order that they happen. Take a look at this image. What do you see in this image? There is a mother and a child, and they are looking at a box of cereals and they want to eat cereals. Now, it's something so simple, right? But we got to do it in the right order. And doing something in the right order is called sequencing. So what really is sequencing? It's very, very simple. Sequencing always begins with first, next, then, after that, and last or finally. Okay, so when you look at this image and you look at those little boxes, tell me, what is the first thing that you will do? Will you pour the cereal in the bowl? If that's what you will do, I will ask you, when will you get the bowl? So it's simple. The first thing that you will do is get a bowl. What is the second thing that you will do? That's right, you will get some cereal. What will you do next? You will pour the cereal into the bowl. And then what will you do? You will add some milk. And finally, you will scoop some cereal with a spoon and eat it. Wasn't that easy? So that was sequencing for you. Now, I'm going to tease your brain a little bit. Here's a biography using sequencing. Who remembers what is biography? Let's first talk about what biography really means. Biography is a detailed description of a person's life. And why did I say I will tease your brain? Tell me something. Is biography a fiction or a non-fiction? Very good. It's a non-fiction because it is based on true story of a person. Now, this gentleman here, his name is Mr. Neil Armstrong. And do you know where he is? Well, he is on the moon. So, he is the first man to go on the moon. Have a look at how his biography is explained through sequencing. So first, Neil Armstrong went into space in the year 1966. Next, he walked on the moon in 1969. Then he put the American flag on the moon. So that was sequencing for you. Now here's what I would like you to do. Please recall the concepts that you have learned in today's social studies class, because your teacher is going to ask you questions based on what you've learned today. I hope you enjoyed the session and I hope to see you sometime in the classroom. Have a nice day, students. Bye-bye.